the entire space was supposed to be made in such a way that it could be accessible by 5 centimeter UV, like sound, smells, colors.
Wastage goes around.
From a designer's perspective and from my layman's perspective, I really wasn't satisfied with that motive because it's extremely flexible, 3D printed. You inside it, it's been molded according to your kneecap and your shape of the knee.
This problem is in that was papers.
If we focus on deliberate innovation in the classrooms, then the students should be given a chance to actually start enterprises and scale it up. And we felt that this is absolutely critical in any sort of an education ecosystem to foster. It doesn't mean that it's completely internally focused. It also means that we have entrepreneurs from outside who are cohabitants of the space. And how they benefit is because we have 3 schools of design, communication, media, and management entrepreneurship. Professors from all those 3 schools, the faculty members, contribute through their expertise and their knowledge to help them scale it up as well.
So, what's the purpose of this gathering and why are we here? Just to sort of set the context, you know that the Indian design industry is facing new challenges that have come with new demands and new expectations. Businesses are seeking new abilities that combine necessary delivery skill sets with systemic and process knowledge. Old pedagogies that focused on developing vocational skills have now become redundant in the face of new market dynamics that require the capacity to examine and explore new domains as an important part of creating value. So how is academia generating knowledge capital for future industry needs? How do design studios or design businesses or design teams see themselves evolving in a scenario with new design-based and design-driven entrepreneurial ventures? This is a question I'm throwing open to all of you. How do you see industry evolving in the next 10 years? And what kind of niche profiles do you envision being created in your own company?
The industry has started looking at the bigger role, which is more of a integrator role. Yeah. So our job is now not just to create some artifacts, but also about bringing in integration of design with other functions, which is like technology, management, social sciences, and all. So I think so industry has this expectation that I don't only do the artifact creation, but also able to create design space within the organization, and for which I need to work with other professions and integrate design with them. So that is what the expectation is. And now with that, the problem is that unfortunately our designer from our education perspective are kind of given this, you are there to create artifacts. So they are not able to perceive that role, or they are not able to actually get adjusted to that role. We are being looked at a much bigger role, which changes the role from operational designer to technical designer and strategical designer. I think that's where the growth is.
So I think as an organization that's looking at design education and shaping the future of that landscape, you need to be very aware that students should not necessarily graduate as super specialists in any one discipline. You can specialize certainly, yes, but you must understand the role you are called upon, in industry and in society to do. And that role is to fundamentally understand human beings, to understand how people think, how society functions, and how you can, as a designer, how you can fundamentally impact that.
We believe we are a fashion, company for the bathroom. And where I see the kind of industry changing for us is that we've realized that we can do good industrial design all over the world. We have good designers in China, good designers in the US. But I think what we're looking for now is, can we go to different parts of the world where we've not been before? So for example, India. And can we look at culture and get kind of a cultural inspiration to make modern industrially made products? And that's what we're looking for. Who is this person who's going to get new ideas to us. We believe design is no longer going to be about how good you are with form and shape and materiality, but about ideas and where these new ideas will come from. So I think that's what I see is going to change in my company.
Like I said, I run a company called QED. Before this, I used to be in advertising. And I'll carry on from something that Ishan said, that yes, everybody is becoming a designer. Like everybody become a photographer, or with blogs and WordPress, everybody become a writer. And maybe that's not such a threat. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Because ultimately design, whether I'm a designer or not, it impacts and underlies the whole world that we live in. If the road engineer makes the road in a particular way and the design is not right or hasn't been designed properly, it's still a disaster. You just need to look out and see what's happening. Specifically in the kind of industry that I'm in, I envision that even the management or the servicing teams should do a course in elementary design. Some sort of communication design course. I'm in the communications business, so I think everybody, and I make it a given that anybody, whether you're even in accounts, you need to have some basic knowledge of design.
There has to be a broad recognition that what designers and what photographers are people expressing a language. And if we sort of take it to that base common denominator, then we realize that it's a language only. And so what you do with the language is dependent on everything else that you cover it with. And so, you cannot say, I know my language well. That's not good enough at the end of the day. So that's literally the starting point of that building block. And that's what we need to treat it as.
When you look at industry evolving, we're all talking about the current over here. When you go outside, you see a lot of influence of, as Shan said, anthropology or psychology. As designers, if we can't understand consumers, whatever we create comes down to zero. If we don't know who are we looking forward to, who are we creating for, as any kind of designer, whether it be a fashion designer, industrial designer, communication designer, if we don't know our consumer well, we can create miracles for problems which don't exist. Going fast is not the only way. You will always have to take a break. And it comes back to the old story of the turtle and the hare. So we have to understand that maybe we've been in this whole digital age, we're just going fast. We come full circle, we come back slow again.
Currently, I'm engaged with a project based on sensory intelligence. And since we are all talking about the future, I've been in the creative tools space for a long time, and basically the tools that we work with, Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop. And there has been an effort in actually seeing design examples of automation. So if you guys remember the graphic design identity project which Nutella did on dynamic branding, and sort of an automated bot started creating branding on multiple labels, and they created these 2000 variations which got printed out in the market. And a big question arose that, is this what we are defining as design? Part of Adobe definitely thinks that that is not what is the future of design, because then we lose all these intricacies. And what we need to really focus here is how does it help the creative? Where do we do all these tweaking tasks as well as tasks that we have to move faster? So all these boring tasks of moving pixels, aligning grids, and you sit in front of these creative tools for hours. Can machine intelligence help us, erase all those standpoints?
I know it's very tempting to when there are trends and superstar designers to copy or to license something and change it a little bit. But I think what students really need to understand is that actually copying is not wrong. It's a good way to learn. I mean, nothing. If you learn if you copy a master, you will learn. But then how do you find your own voice after that, and authentic voice? So that's something I'm seeing the new generation, at least in my experience, struggling with a little bit.
You know, bridging the gap is something the students need to understand, and that is when they have to understand the context, who is their target audience, how can they actually help them. If we are talking about countries like Africa who can't really afford a lot of things which are expensive, whereas compared to Europe or US where they are developed and they are sufficient. So understanding the context in context of time and skill set, because technology is really going to replace all, most of the basic soft skills. So it's something that I needed to add. Thank you.
Usually, I've met a lot of designers who would say, I'm going to do the creative aspect of it and I don't care about the business models, like, someone else is going to take care of it. But I think in the future, as we're heading towards it, everything should be budgeted. There's so many campaigns going on that you do all these challenges and you're not getting paid for it. You have to be the author of your design. You have to get paid. You have to challenge yourself to account for your time and your efforts. So I think that is a very important skill that designers have to learn.
So why is it that from a safety pin to RCC to glass to WC to a toothbrush to motor car, aircrafts, nothing has been designed, thought through here? Why? What are these modern products about that we could not figure out? And why is it that it has been happening somewhere else? So we have been asking this question to ourselves, and I found that, like all of you know, that 200 years of ravaging that has happened historically, and we have lost so much, including our languages, including our way of thinking, not necessarily in English. So how do we think for ourselves? Not just design. Design is just one part of it. And create. We become the originators in this very place. And why it hasn't happened is because we lost so much. So what do we do now? An organization, school like ISDI, to them my request is that if you could take some time, if you could have patience, I think there is a lot of healing that is required. A lot of healing, and that's the area in which brilliant minds like this should be working together. Somebody mentioned for the nation. How do we build if we don't know what we had, and what we have, it is completely unexplored.
So I have some very interesting focal questions which I picked during the conversations. So we discussed about what is design today and what will design be in the future. And we said that design is a language, right? It's something that is universal, it's something that we practice day in and day out. Who all should learn or should be taught design, right? So it's not just the designers or the students, but design is also for the industry leaders. Where does design originate? I think historically we have been talking about design originating through a problem. We need to have empathy towards customer, look at the problems, which yes is true, but at the same time, design is now becoming more strategic in nature, and design is also about identifying new opportunities, looking at new paradigms and new opportunity spaces. Who is design for? Design is not just for the consumer or for the society. Design is also going to be for the environment. Design is going to be for self, for us, for me. The fun of doing, the fun of designing, the fun of experiencing the design.
Hi, I'm Chandrika Sahai from Meraki Design, an architect and interior designer based in Gurgaon, and we wish you all the best in your design field. And one thing I would say, no matter what design field you get into, be it fashion, textile, architecture, interiors, give it your best, be passionate about what you do, and that passion will see you through everything. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Parthiv Shah. My organization is called Center for Media and Alternative Communication, CMAC. My message to you all is that you should start asking questions. You know, most of us have stopped asking questions and take things on face value. So whatever you see around you, you need to ask questions. And until you do that, you won't be able to go further. So I think the short way to tell you something is this, that please ask questions and observe very, very keenly.
As students, I think it's very, very important for you to develop an understanding of the people you're going to be designing for. Because what's going to happen is when you graduate, industry is going to make you apply yourself, your learning, your training to projects and create design outputs straight off the bat. The day you graduate, the day you join a job, you're going to be creating design outputs, right? So whether that's a product or a website. However, what that means sometimes is that you lose sight of the big picture, which is what is the context within which I'm designing the solution? You know, what is the entire ecosystem around it? So my advice would be that at this stage, read, talk to people, seniors who are out there, other people in the industry you look up to, find a mentor, and try and train yourself to learn what empathy really means, and maybe find systematic ways of developing that skill and knowledge within you.
Hey, hi guys, I'm Ishan Khosla from Delhi. I run a studio called Ishan Khosla Design. So some advice or suggestions for young designers is that one is always be yourself. Be inquisitive, go beyond the obvious. I know it sounds a little cliched, but actually what really makes a designer unique and interesting is if they are ready to explore every nook and cranny, even things that may seem very mundane and everyday. If you turn them over, re-look at things and observe, right? And that's really important. And I know in today's world we are very distracted. There's a lot of things going on. What's really important is to find your unique voice, to be authentic, and just love what you do. And best wishes to you guys. Thanks.
The message that I have for the young minds is that please do not aspire to become service providers for the industry. Please be the leader, the thinker, the visionary, and the game changer for the industry. You have that responsibility. Don't let it be the other way around.